right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. It's happening out in Happy Land tonight. Y'all good looking, sexy people. Hope you're doing all right. It is 5:58 p.m. Beijing time. Get yourself a hot beverage. Sit back and relax. We're going to have a after party. Gonna break it down, let y'all know what that's all about here in just a minute. Get myself a cup of mud so I can keep up pace with tonight's flow. I see that Flow State is live. Make sure you guys check him out if you haven't already. He holds down shop really nice, really tight over there at Flow State Live. I was just on a chat with Vlad. His handle here on YouTube is Ironworks 92000. That is IRONWORK 92000. Right. Yeah, I found him on Nachiketa's channel, and they're a part of the sea level plane folks that have realized the menu is not the meal. Not everything is as it seems. The reason I took interest in their conversation tonight in particular was due to the fact that they had mentioned I should fade that out. It'd be a little better if I fade it out. Yeah, fade out that music. The reason I took interest in the entire thing is I had jumped on Nachiketa's channel originally. He's Nachiketa Fire here on YouTube at NACHIKETA FIRE, Nachiketa Fire. They were talking about a 24-hour localized sun, and I had remembered that I read something about the sun by Rudolf Steiner, and I wanted to get into it with y'all tonight and see what you guys know about the sun, because the sun is definitely an interesting phenomenon. And I'm going to do this in conjunction with support for the 100-day challenge, Pathways of Magic. Looks like we got a visitor in the house. Axis Rat Blood. Shout out to you, homie. What's going on? Brother from another mother. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't assume your gender, huh? There's an entire new generation of folks that are like, Frank Monday, the fuck you doing assuming my gender, baby? How you know what kind of unit I'm sporting? And I don't, and I won't. So until you tell me otherwise, I will just assume you are fatter. So welcome, wizard, warrior, wanderer, wayfarer, and wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. Axis Blood, will you give me a little feedback? How's the sound coming in? How's our sound quality? How's the audio tonight out there in Happy Land? Y'all good looking, sexy people. Hope you're doing all right. I'm broadcasting to you from Twilight Zone Old Peking, deep within the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, far behind the bamboo firewall. Give me fives, guys, if we've got good audio. I will check. I will try to double check here on my YouTube feed. I don't know if I can though. Let me see. My VPN is malfunctioning as is per want to do for you, it says, but I don't see my own live stream broadcasting. It says I am live, and it looks like Axis Rat Blood is in the house, so I should be good to go. Let me check it out. Check it out now. Check it out. Okay, I'll work under the assumption that we are good to go. If at any time, Axis, do you like to come on chat? Do you like it when it's a panel chat, or do you just like to hang out in the chat room and participate that way? Because it's up to you guys. If you'd like to come on in, I'd let you know that the time is now to seek the truth. Lux et veritas, right? Light equals truth. Seek the light and quit the darkness, my friends. I like to always begin everything with a short prayer I think, I don't think any, thank you for that, Axis Rat Blood. I appreciate you, man. I don't think anything goes proper unless you give glory to God first and foremost in all that you think, say, and do. Ask for God's guidance. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first, if that's all right with y'all. I'll go ahead and throw on the camera so you can see me doing it, baby. So, holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness. He who was, is, and always shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. Amen. Hope y'all good looking sexy people enjoyed that. Out in Happy Land, I will kill the camera for now because I look like something the fucking cat drug in, like a warmed over spoonful of hot cat shit, man. Not any kind of fun. That's okay. I've had a long, hard day, and it is in the evening here. As I said a moment ago, it is 6 p.m. here in Twilight Zone, Old Peking. I will remind you all, if you want to keep my motor going, buy me a cup of Joe. Check it out. I just made myself an evening cup of brew. So give me a cup of Joe. Put a little something in the tip jar. Y'all good looking, sexy people. That helps keep the lead in my pencil, the pep in my step. And with that, I will keep my nose to the grindstone and rolling with the punches, baby. Good. Yeah, so love light to everyone. Thank you for that, Axis Rat Blood. If you do want to come on and chat about something, man, that would be awesome. It's just an after party. I'm firing off the weekend here in Beijing because I'm off and it's Friday and I'm off and the kids are gone. The kids have shuffled their asses back to the city to be with their mom for tonight. That's okay. We'll all meet up tomorrow, Saturday, and have fun. It is October 25th, only 1 week to Halloween, guys. I don't know how you guys feel about Halloween, but I like it. It's All Hallows Eve. I've always had fun on Halloween. I think it's a good traditional holiday. I don't think you should dress up like Michael Myers or Jason or anything. That perverse aspect of Halloween was not the way I enjoyed it as a kid. I think you should dress up like princes and princesses and have a Halloween ball. Everybody dance and drink apple cider and eat pumpkin pie, because pumpkin bolsters the immune system and it gets you ready for winter. It's a good harvest season. You know, bring in the hay and the corn stalks, and give glory unto God, man, our Creator, who art above us and who art within us. The kingdom of heaven is within, said the great Messiah of the people, Jesus Christo. With no further ado, man, I wanted to share something with you guys tonight. Let me roll that music back just a little bit more, man, so that you can hear me with absolute clarity. So I will edit the after party and mention that it is, what do you guys call it, an open panel, and see if anybody comes on board, and ask the question, what is the sun? Yeah, what is the sun? Is it Amun Ra? Is it the solo moon, right? Solomon, King Solomon, the sun and moon. The ancient Taoists said that the wizard, the magician, has the sun and moon in a box, which means that in the Taoist system of internal alchemy, we have the sun and moon inside of our body. Let me post a notification for the stream. Yeah, thank you for that, Axis Rat Blood. That's very kind of you. I like to think of my own endeavor as the low ground. So all comers are welcome, whether you be of the FE Society, the AE Society, the globular folks, the planar folks, any kind of folks, any and all are welcome. Because in all honesty, I don't have it all figured out, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to figure it out together with you guys. But I wanted to go ahead and get into what I was contemplating for this evening's transmission. Wow, Luke 23. I was just chatting with Luke 23 over at Ironworks' live stream and had a really good conversation with Vlad and the other fella. I don't know his name, but he goes by Luke. And Luke 23 is the crucifixion. So I definitely think that's something we should contemplate. But I wanted to contemplate some of Rudolf Steiner's teaching tonight. I don't know if you guys are much into Steiner or not, but I've been studying him a bit. And I think there's some value. He brings some light to the question of what is the sun, right? Black hole sun, won't you come chase the rain away? Black hole sun, won't you come? Let me post a notification for the stream. Yes, thank you for that, Axis Rap Blood. And as soon as you're ready, man, let me know, and I will post the link to come on the panel in the chat. And until then, I'll just keep on keeping on as if everything's going perfectly smooth, which I do hope that it is. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just an earthling. Yeah, me too, man. Manifesting in the prime material plane with trying to figure it all out, man. I like to think of myself as a natural magician because I stumbled upon angelic magic when I was quite young, and I called upon God and his angels many, many times, and they saved me, right? When the great confuser, the great distorter of truth came at me with his kingdom that he rules over and tried to take my life, I called out directly to God and his angels for salvation, and they responded quite rapidly, in fact. The form of Michael, Oriel, Gabriel, Raphael, right? Jehovah. Jehovah has never turned his back on me, so don't turn his back on him. Don't turn your back on him. Let's see what Rudolf Steiner has to say about the sun over our vast sea level plain, and see if he can add some clarity. Share screen, it says. Share screen, entire screen. I don't know how this thing works, man. YouTube Studio. Oh, StreamYard Studio. Yeah. So I have the free account. They might cut me off, man. I wonder. They said that I'm getting low on my ability to transmit. They said your free StreamYard account is about to reach its end. And I'm like, well, that's all I've got is a free StreamYard account. I guess I should pay them, what is it, $10 a month? And I will, yeah, maybe I'll do that at some point. I'll buy the beginner level StreamYard. But for now, we are powered by StreamYard, guys, which means we have a free StreamYard account. And so if you want to join the chat, if you want to join the panel, let me know and I'll put the link. I guess I should go ahead and throw the link in anyway. And then anytime you guys are here, you can let me know. Mysteries of the Sun and of the Threefold Man, from the 26th of August, 1918 in Dornoch. This is lecture 3 from a series of lectures by Rudolf Steiner. It's available at rsarchive.org. So if you want to check that out, you can. Let me pop the link in there just in case I'm on the other just in case I'm on the other window when you guys dial in. Yeah, there it is there. If you guys need it, it is, for those of you at home listening that cannot see the video, it is streamyard.com/AP, the number 8, PA98WXJ. And that'll get you there, man. That'll get you in like Skin Flynn. And you're going to win. certain questions will increasingly obtrude themselves upon those who really think, even though in these times of overwhelming materialism, these thinkers would prefer to keep them more or less at a distance. So, what are these certain questions that Steiner's about to present to us on the mystery of the sun and of the threefold man? Let's find out if we can. All right, I'll make sure that you guys can see that. Can everybody see that? If you can see it, give me fives. If you can see my screen. There are many such questions, and today I should like, out of all of them, to pick a few that arise from man, in spite of resisting it, becoming aware of the spiritual world. To such questions belong those, for instance, raised in the course of everyday life. Certain men die young, others in old age, and others again in middle life. Concerning the fact that on the one hand young children die, and on the other hand grow to old age and then die, concerning this fact questions arise in man, to which by means today called scientific the answer can never be found. Everyone has to own this after inner reflection. Everyone has to own this after inner reflection, that science can't answer the questions, right? People try to analyze it, spectralize it from a scientific standpoint, right? Why do some people die young, like even in childbirth? Why do other people die old, right? So why can some grow into old age while others drop dead in middle life? For example, my father and mother both made it into the autumn of life, but they didn't make it much past that, right? I've had friends and other family that only made it into their 40s. And in fact, there's something to be said about people dropping dead at 46 for some reason. Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, Rudolf Steiner himself. The list goes on and on and on. JFK, of course, he was, but 46, what's up with that? When I was 46, I faced the dark night of the soul and almost lost my life. But that's neither here nor there right this moment. Let's go ahead and get back into some of this Steiner material. I remind you guys, if you'd like to join the show, the link is there in the box. I guess I should pin it. I will get on my phone and try to pin it. Let's see if this will work. For some reason, my phone isn't responding. Come chat with me. Why? Why don't you respond to me? Stupid phone. Here we go. Give me just a second if you would. Still not responding. Okay. Anyway. You can't have everything all the time, right? It doesn't always work. Let's get into it, guys. He says, so why do people die at different ages? Concerning this fact, questions arise in man to which by no means today called scientific the answer can never be found. Everyone has to his own this after inner reflection. Everyone has to own this after inner reflection. Yet in human life, these are burning questions. And surely anyone can feel that infinitely much in life must receive enlightenment when we can really get down to these questions. Why do some human beings die early, some as children, some as adolescents, and some in the middle of the normal period of life? Why do others die old? What significance has this in the whole cosmos? All right, so let's find out. Steiner, for some reason, seems to have a level of enlightenment that allows him to draw these answers from the astral light and into our world. He was big on going into dreamland and directly communicating with spiritual beings and bringing back the teaching to communicate it to modern man. He also used spiritual intuition and gnosis. He also studied the documentation of the Hindus. I don't know if he had as much influence with the Taoists, though he does mention Tao in his teaching. So he did have some peripheral understanding. And honestly, I would trust him and other, I believe he was a Lutheran, and I was raised Lutheran, but I would believe that I would trust him and other German people in their study of the Chinese texts at that time. We're talking a century ago, more so than I would American sources, because the Germans had a longer tradition of translating those things into their language, into German, than the Western world did. So much of that comes to us. In fact, much of the original translations of the Chinese texts came by way of German, the German language, that they had already worked on it. So let's have a deeper look at this. Um, Again, I remind you, we are looking at Rudolf Steiner's the Rudolf Steiner archive, and we are studying from 26th of August 1980 Dornoch lecture, lecture 3, Mysteries of the Sun and the Threefold Man. We're right about now to contemplate the significance of death, at which stage in your life you die, in reference to the whole cosmos. Men still has ideas, concepts with which to answer these questions up to that point of time described in these lectures. The time at the beginning of the post-Atlantean period, that is up to approximately the middle of the 8th pre-Christian century, men had concepts that came down out of ancient wisdom. In those olden times, before the 8th pre-Christian century, ideas were in fact circulating everywhere in the culture of life of the earth-giving men. In conformity with the mind of those times, the solution to such questions as here mentioned, what today we call science, cannot connect the right meaning with these questions, and has no idea that there is something in them for which men should be seeking a possible answer. All this arises because since the point of time indicated, all conceptions related to the spiritual and therefore to immortal man have actually been lost. Yeah, so again, he's commenting on this over 100 years ago, and even at that time, much had been lost in reference to man's immortal spirit, and there was much speculation at the time. But the big question is, how do we directly confirm the veracity of an immortal spirit unless you've had very powerful direct spiritual encounters, uh, be it such as in my own situation, several near-death experiences, right? And actually being died and then revived by an ER. So having visited the realm of death more than once, gone beyond the veil and returned. That's one possible way. Another is when you sit in deep contemplative meditation and you do internal alchemy, you may, by way of your internal energy, awaken the mind to something that appears to be penetrating from beyond the veil, especially at this time near All Hallows Eve, when they say that it is, according to traditional spiritual science, the veil between worlds is thinner, and ghosts and spirits can respond to you at this time, right? Some people put out a lot of prohibitions, a lot of inhibitions forward as to our role as human beings indirectly communicating with the spiritual world. But me personally, I've always been a pioneer and engaged in experimentation and exploration of spiritual science, like Rudolf Steiner and P.B. Randolph and other great folks that rather than just studying what's already out there, directly getting involved and attempting to do it yourself, right? Pull yourself up by the bootstraps at some point and ask God to reveal higher truths to you, to provide light. There have been times when I needed to be guided out of the darkness by a divine intervention, and it happened. So I'm here to testify that I don't just believe in God, I know God and have a special relationship with the Godhead. Let's continue. So I think that some of this material is relevant to today's man and bringing it forward from only 100 years ago to now, today. Let's bring it into today. Let's attempt to couch it in modern parlance, as it were. Let's see, where did I leave off? Men should be seeking a possible answer. All that arises because since the point of the time indicated, the immortal man, the relationship, all conceptions related to spiritual and therefore the immortal man have actually become lost. Only these conceptions remain that are connected with man's transitory nature, man between his birth and his death. I have drawn attention to how in all the old world conceptions they spoke of the sun as being threefold. The same sun that is perceived out there by the physical senses as a shining sphere in cosmic space. But behind this sun, the wise men of old saw the soul sun. According to the Greeks, they called Helios. All right, that's why in the tradition of magic, we have Liber Resh Helios. And upon rising in the morning, you should get out there and throw your arms up in the air and face east and say, Hail unto thee who art raw in thy rising, even unto thee who art raw in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Ra-Hor-Quate abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of the night. Good magic. All right, so it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Liber Resh Helios, guys. Make sure if you're interested in joining tonight's conversation, whether it be morning, afternoon, or evening for you, I've got the link right there in the description box. Also, I would like to remind all of you, if it's your first time, please don't let it be your last time. The time is now to check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. I have the entire course syllabus for the 100-day challenge, Pathways of Magic. Remember, that's angelic magic, where we call upon God and his angels to protect us in this most dubious realm of the deceiver, so that we can bring forth more light from the ledge of revelation and receive that good message to spread it. We got to teach what we know to those who do not know. All right, that's the way it works. I will open back up to the comments section. If you guys have any questions or concerns, go ahead and put it out there in the ideas room. I will be shifting back and forth every couple of minutes to check on you in the ideas room and see if you're still doing well out there. I've got a message from Axis Rat Blood, says he's just chilling like a villain, able and willing, and that he has posted a notification for the stream. Thank you for that, and welcome one and all to the transmission, whether you be wizard, warrior, wanderer, wayfarer, and wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission, now or in the future. The soul sun, the Greek Helios, and behind this soul sun, again, the spiritual sun, still identified by Plato, for example, with the good. Modern men do not see any real sense in speaking of Helios, the soul sun, and for that matter of the spiritual sun, the good. But as the physical sun shines upon us here between birth and death, there shines into our ego, if I may say so. During the time we pass between death and a new birth, the spiritual sun identified by Plato with the good. And during this time with death and a new birth, to speak of a shining sphere in the way that it is spoken of in our modern materialistic world conception has absolutely no meaning whatsoever, right? So I think it's important to point out here, before I go forward, that this was the main reason, and I'll turn the camera on there for the voyeurs out there who might want to see that it is in fact Frank Monday behind the bamboo firewall, and it's not some other villain posing as Frank Monday. That this was what drew my attention to the conversation by Vlad over at his channel Ironworks 92000. They were talking about the sun, and they were in contemplation of what is it, and the measurement, how far is it from the prime material plane? Is it localized? Is it non-localized? Is it heliocentric? Is it non-heliocentric? What's going on with it? And I thought so many people look at the modern materialistic aspect of it, and so few fail to address the spiritual nature of the thing. And I've encountered balls of floating plasma, lunar balls of floating plasma, solar balls of floating plasma here on Earth. And I realized that there was a lot of high strangeness involved in these encounters. And in addition to high strangeness, there's what some in the community call apotheum, or time dilation. And not only have I experienced time dilation in reference to localized plasma spheres, I've seen the sun appear localized at sunset here in Beijing. Beijing has a very unique energy here in Twilight Zone, old Beijing. And with that, in propinquity to those experiences, I also have encountered time slips where I was transported back to maybe Tang Dynasty Beijing, and there was a localized sun burning in the sky that turned bright red with classic Chinese painting style environments. And I was up on spiritual viewing platforms when this occurred, right? And you've seen the old Chinese paintings where there are these Taoist wizards wandering the countryside, and you have a localized bright red sun with these interesting aspects like the mysterious pearl and the dragon, and these interesting three-born cloud formations going around them. I could pull up an image here on the internet to help with it, but seeing an image, seeing the old painting does not give you the reality of it appearing right before you here in the city. And it has. I was teaching a swing dance class over in one of the hutongs just to the northwest of the Forbidden City, and I had come out on an outcropping where there was an old feng shui bridge that led from Nanlo Guxiang to Anle Hutong, Anle Gu Hutong, fuck, I forgot the name of it. Anyway, it's an old Nanlo Guxiang. You guys can easily identify if you're a Beijinger at all. But I had emerged out, and the sun was going down, and both the moon and the sun appeared in the sky, but they both appeared localized. And the image shifted in front of me, and this red, beautiful sun was sinking down into what we call the fragrant mountains, Xiangshan. But the entire city became ancient Tang Dynasty style, and all of the big buildings of modern China were gone and replaced by a picturesque, almost watercolor painting of the city. And the classic Chinese style dragon appeared around that mysterious pearl of the sun and oscillated. And I looked at that and I reflected, and I knew internally, like, this was arising out of my own practice, out of my own Dantian centers, and all stood still, time stood still, and I just enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is actually the very first time I've conveyed this time slip to anyone, or attempted to convey it through language. Let me see if I could even try to recall the year that this occurred. It might be the same time I started the idea of Lunar Light Entertainment, 2013. It was at or about that time, anywhere from 2013 to 2015. I went back and I did an entire journaling of art pieces on it and internalized it and tried to digest what I had just experienced. It was the time I wrote the poem about the bat. So I wrote a bat poem. This was prior to the Kuvis, right? When bats became vilified. Anyway, and so sometimes people think, right, why do we study all these things? Why do we care what the dimensions of heaven are? And why do we care what the shape of the earth is? And how do we reconcile these, being man, appearing between heaven and earth? How do we reconcile our relationship with the celestial sphere above and the infernal realm below, right? The subterranean infernal realm of Hades. Because the upshot is this, guys. In the mystic moment, the intangible becomes graspable. The inaudible is heard. The unseeable appears before you. And the unnameable can be conceptualized only momentarily. But good God, the amount of time and effort and struggle that goes between each revelation of the spirit realm being here among man right now, and it's you or the world, like what was Neo's teacher's name? Morpheus. Like Morpheus says to Neo, the world is the blindfold that's been strapped on you to hide the truth from you. When you get into what's in Tao we call the mystic moment, that veil is rended and you can see the immortal realm. And then you know that we do truly have a timeless homeland, guys. Heart-centered, timeless homeland. And I'm here to tell you all about it because I've been there and I've seen it, and I'm bringing it back to reality. Welcome to the chat, everyone. It looks like we've got some new people wandering through. So I remind you guys, you're all welcome, whether you be a wizard, a warrior, a wanderer, a wayfarer, or a wildcat alike. If it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. Please hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. All that happy horse shit that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog, because isn't that what we're all doing? Aren't we all just barking for the algorithms? Make sure you guys go over and check me out at www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Put a little something in the tip jar. That puts the lead in my pencil. Welcome to the chat. Schaden Fruede says, isn't Morpheus the dream god? I could look it up. Yeah, Morpheus is the dream god. That's right. He was also, yeah. So that makes sense, right? He's awakening Neo from the dream. And a good and jolly morning to you as well, Schaden Fruede. Welcome. Yes, I'm familiar. I can see that very clearly, Schaden Fruede. Thank you for that. I'm a little suspicious of your name there, though, Schaden Fruede. Is that really what you're up to? Is that really what you want to do there, laddie? Not to worry. Whatever floats your boat, right? Let's get back into it a little bit, guys. If you want to join the chat, the link is in the chat room. This is a panel chat, and we are going over Rudolf Steiner's 1918 lecture, on Mysteries of the Sun and the Threefold Man. We made it just down here to we're learning about the benefactive preeminence of the sun, the sun shining into our ego and illuminating us, right? And that the spiritual sun identified by Plato with the good, right? And let's get into what Socrates had to say. A concept of this kind is just what should show us something. It should lead us to reflect on how the matter really stands with regard to the physical representation we form of the world. It is not, it is not taken seriously in its full sense. At any rate, not so seriously that our outlook on life is actually permeated by it. That in all our physical representations of the world, in what is spread out perceptibly for us, we have to see a kind of illusion called Maya. right? So yeah, we can see the, oh, that looks like a Rorschach painting right there. Is that a Nicola Rorschach? Yeah, Rorschach painting. Not Rorschach. Yeah, was it Rorschach that did that went to Tibet and spent there a while doing the paintings of the Tibetan peoples and their transmission of the ideas? Yeah. So the main point I wanted to get down to here in tonight's conversation is that the yin yang symbol, the Taiji Tu, it shows us that it's not just a nuts and bolts thing, right? It's also a hyper spiritualized, super sensual thing. So, if I may illustrate for a moment, you have both the light and the dark. You have the light side and the dark side of the Taiji Tu. And in the side of light, that which is under the spectrum, the visible spectrum of man's optic energy, we can see this materialized outer world. But it requires an inner vision to penetrate the darkness with light and see the spiritual ways, to see these things through spiritual eyes. So when you look at the sun and you contemplate, oh, what is it? Why don't you go deeper? Why don't you try to attempt to perceive what this thing is through your spiritual vision? And that's what I find lacking in the community these days, is very few people actually doing the spiritual work required to perceive these things through their spiritual vision. All right, so Schaden Fruede says that it's his troll name. He says, this is my troll name, and he should have came in on his main account. Yeah, no problem, man. Names and labels don't bother me. I'm not confused in any way. I find good fun in a little Schadenfreude as well, right? Someone slips on the banana peel, and you laugh, and you be like, motherfucker, you fell on your ass. Right, good fun. He says that it's another weird name that's old Slavonic. Okay, very good. And, oh, you switched over. You said, okay, this is my main chat. It's a spy meme with my face on it. Okay, I see an owl, and then I see something else. My vision, guys, is not what it used to be. I'm a half a century old, and it says TMH. Not very sure, with 666 in between, or BBB. The last one has a little serif on it, though. And I just begun to get into the Shintoism, but I see we're kind of all over the place. Yeah, catch up. This is my main name. Okay, yeah, good work, man. I am caught up now. And yeah, so I'm not super familiar with Shintoism, but I do believe that is the Japanese expression of similar ideas. I'm a Taoist guy, so I'm mostly just esoteric Tao and a particular school of Tao. There are many schools of Tao, but my particular school of Tao deals with enlightenment through gnosis that arrives through doing inner alchemy. So you have to refine, and I'll turn on my camera just a little bit so I can gesticulate with the body. Give me a second, guys. So you might have heard me talk about it a little bit in the past, but basically there are 3 heat or energy centers in the body. They are called dantians, or centers, elixir fields, cinnabar fields. And you can feel them when you go to sleep at night. Lay down and feel where the heat is being generated in the body. The upper one relates directly to the celestial realm. It's called the upper dantian. The middle one, this is similar to the Hindu chakra system, but much more streamlined, much easier to understand. You've researched Hermeticism for a while. Good. I'm a student of Hermetic science as well. The center dantian is where the Taiji appears, right? So you think of the top dantian as the what's that called? The tachyon. Is a tachyonic particle coming down into the physicalized man as the white side of the Taiji, the yin yang symbol. And then the bottom one is a dark Taiji coming up from the lower dantian. So we're just basically working with 3 alchemical furnaces, centers of heat in the body: the upper dantian, the lower dantian, and the middle dantian. You focus the intent mostly throughout the day on the center dantian. That's why we do this in prayer, right? You guys call this the heart center, but in the Chinese alchemical science, we call it the seat of the cauldron. And so The fire energy is below and heats the cauldron. The water energy descends down into it, and you make it bubble and boil. And when that bubbling, boiling alchemical stew is ready, you suck it down through the lower Dantian and up the microcosmic orbit into the brain, where it is transformed into an immortal elixir. And then you swallow it down into the body to refine the physical being. This type of refinement is much easier than the chakra systems. I know people these days are calling chakras, but in my old school, I was born in early 70s. It was always pronounced chakra with an SH. So don't overfixate on semantic discrepancies. China has 56 major ethnicities, and everyone pronounces everything differently. So if you let pronunciation hobble you too much, you're missing the idea, right? Absorb the concepts. Language is meant for communication. And Qigong, that's essentially what it is. Yeah. So Qigong just means breath work. It just means breathing and focusing on the idea of breathing. The next level, what this practice is called, Qigong is done with moving the body while breathing. Neigong is internal gong. It's inner alchemy. It's done through seated meditation and moving. So you have the Tai Chi, right? You understand this. That's good. So it's very, very easy in Chinese. That's why I love the Taoist system more than any of the others. All these other guys, they obfuscate everything and make it so difficult to comprehend, whereas the Chinese system makes it super easy. You're mixing positive and negative energies at your heart center and then oscillating them throughout the day. You rotate them, right? Just like the sun and the moon rotate. So the sun at the top, the moon at the bottom, and then you let them shift positions. The moon at the top, the sun at the bottom, and just keep that engine going all throughout the day with every single breath, generating dynamic energy at the center and then swallowing it into and storing it in extra dimensional spaces, right? In the form of what we call, that's a little too high level though for you guys right now. Just do the rotation. You have to awaken the rotation first. Do the rotation, right? Learning these things isn't learning them. It's remembering the natural process. So much easier than other systems, guys. That's why I think it's imperative that you study with me here and learn all about it from a true Taoist sage. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would call myself a neophyte on the way. I've only been studying it for approximately 40 years now, religiously. Every single day I practice. So 40 years, and I've been able to produce genuine, tangible manifestations of Wuji. So yeah, you have Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing is your sexual energy, your organ. Your Jing Qi. Jing Qi is for men it's the seminal fluid. For women it's something else. Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a sorcerer. I'm a magician, a natural magician, a wizard on the path of development. Sorcery, I think, is a little different. I believe it was King Solomon said that we shouldn't practice sorcery. We should practice angelic magic. So yeah, let me break it all down for you. Jing is at the bottom. That's the lower Dantian, the infernal Dantian. The middle Dantian, what I call the terrestrial Dantian, is the center of Qi, the life breath, the life energy. And then the top Dantian, the celestial Dantian, is called Shen, or spirit. So you have Jing, physical energy, Qi, human energy, emotional energy, and then Shen, the mind or spirit energy. And Lian Jing Hua Qi, Lian Qi Hua Shen, Lian Shen Hua Wu Ji. So you cultivate and refine Jing so that it becomes Qi. You cultivate and refine Qi so that it becomes Shen. And then you cultivate and circulate Shen so that you can store depolarized energy, what is called Wu Ji. Wu Ji is like dark matter. I would liken it to dark matter. I don't know that it is dark matter, but it has the potential. It's invisible energy that you store that has the potential to become anything. Like it can directly manifest into this prime material plane as anything. It can become an entire new life for you. It can become money, it can become fame, it can become wealth, it can manifest in the form of old grimoires, it can manifest as treasures, it can manifest as globes of plasma in your environment, it can manifest as an opportunity to ride on a flying saucer with a group of light beings. It can manifest as anything. So, yeah, it's a very simplified process. The more you practice, the more Wuji you can um, generate and store. All right, guys, I will jump back into Steiner's teaching here really quick, and that way we can kind of get through it a little bit before we run out of daylight, which I'll remind you, here in Beijing, it is pushing 7 p.m. So, welcome. So he goes on to say that this illusion of Maya, right? Fundamentally, this kind of representation of the sun that anyone accepts when talking as his authority, when taking as his authority modern physics, astrophysics, whatever you like to call it, if he were able to travel to the place where the physicist places the sun, on approaching it, he would let us continue. Let us turn from the conditions of human life and assume that the absolute conditions of life could prevail, which we're making a hypothetical scenario here. He would become aware of an overpowering heat. This is how he would picture it. And when he had arrived inside the space that the physicists considered to be filled by the sun, he would find in this space red hot gas or something of this kind. This is what the physicist considers to be filled by the sun. He would find in this space, this is what the physicist actually pictures, a ball of glowing gas or something like that. But it is not so, my dear friends. This is definitely illusion. This representation cannot hold water in the face of true physical perception, let alone what can actually be perceived spiritually. So I think that it's important that we pay attention to his distinction here between physical perception, right? Like what we perceive with our eyes and with our instruments, as opposed to spiritual perception, which we perceive with our awakened heavenly eyes when we view things beyond the veil. TMH mentions, is there another handle that I can call you by, TMH? So, because I can't read that. That's that doesn't have any vowels. So, Thomas? No, I don't think you're a Thomas. A Tommy? No. I'm not going to attempt to read that because it's not in hieroglyphs that I recognize. So pay attention to this distinction between what's true physical perception and spiritual perception. Were it possible to get near the sun, to reach where the sun is, we should find, indeed, getting nearer that has the same effect as going through floods of light. But when we came right inside where the physicist supposes the sun to be, we should first only encounter what we can call empty space. Where the physical sun is supposed to be, there is nothing at all, absolutely nothing. I will draw it diagrammatically. Okay, so here there's a GIF that's not, or an image that's not available. Blue at the center in a yellow circle. Now, if you studied your Franz Barden, you know that these are flashing colors, right? So your chat froze. Okay, call me. I don't know. The bomb. Okay, the bomb. Good. Frater. Let me see, what was your previous handle? Frau Schaden Fruede. Yeah, so I'll call you Frau Schaden Fruede for now, if that's okay. So let's try to wrap our head around this. Sometimes I feel like people on YouTube, in a lot of their presentation videos, Franz Barden, Introduction to Hermetics. If you're studying Franz Barden right now, then I can relate that to you. So in some of the first visual exercises that Franz Barden suggests is one where you take a white cardstock, maybe 10 inches in circle, with about an half an inch to an inch concentric circle of a black dot in the center, right? And you set it just beyond arm's length in front of you at an eye fixation point just above your level of vision, right? Have you done this exercise? This is one of the prerequisite exercises for awakening your, what people these days are calling your third eye, right? Awakening the third eye, which I think is a bit of a misnomer, but I'll use it because it's in the vernacular of today's spiritual seekers, right? So in this study, right, you could see here that my lunar light entertainment GIF is just what he mentions in the Steiner material. A blue dot on a yellow field. Oh, okay. Go back into the initiation to Hermetics. In the first series of exercises of developing your internal visualization skills, he suggests that you do this for like an entire year, like every day at the same time, 3 times a day for a year. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't take that long. You could invest that amount of practice, but you don't need to. You can practice the exercises in Initiation to Hermetics for 100 days, right? I would send in the picture from, let me see, I have it on my phone. I haven't prepared an entire lecture on this material yet, but be it said that in his work, he teaches you to use the flashing colors and making those sigils, right? They're essentially sun and moon sigils. And you stare at them for 60 seconds and then without blinking, and then close the eyes and reflect. You can use my lunar light entertainment one too. You can stare at that at the center of your screen for 60 seconds and then close your eyes and reflect on the inverse colors that you see in the mind as they fade in and out, in and out. Once you learn to do this activity, you can do it with anything in the world of colored dust around you, and you should. You should do it with all kinds of things. You should do it with your hand outstretched in front of you. You should grab a banana and do it with that. You should do it with signs in the world. And you'll start to see, like in the movie They Live. Have you seen the movie They Live? You'll be able to do this with people. You can stare at someone's face for 30 seconds without blinking and then close your eyes and see how their face actually appears in the spirit world. And it's how you learn to read auras and stuff like that. I'm kind of revealing too much in that 60 seconds of talking. So I'll say nothing else on the subject for now because that's Franz Barden doesn't even give you that much information, right? Like you need to arrive at these deductions on your own. I'm not in the tradition of spiritual silence. We're supposed to be silent about what we discover at the individual level, and it's not until you receive initiation that you can be, brought forward, as it were. But I think to some extent we need to do away with some of those prohibitions because we're running out of time, right? People are too sucked in with the grind, the bump and grind of everyday life that they're not able to invest the time and energy that's required to engage in spiritual cultivation. Quick channel update, guys, because we're arriving at the bottom of the hour. I will remind you that these videos are made as support for those of you who are on the 100-day challenge with me, which began at the time of the autumn equinox. So in the 100-day challenge, there's an entire course syllabus available to you at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Just jump on there, check my posts section, and find the one that's called 100-day challenge, Pathways of Magic, right? And while you're over there, you might consider putting a little something, something in the tip jar. But I'll say no more there. If it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. Please check back in often. And I'm going to have to refresh my tea a little bit So I'll turn up the music just a bit, and I'm going to check the chat. I'm not going anywhere, Frater or Sorrow? Frau Schaden Fruede. I'm just going to take a little quick break, 2-minute break. Maybe I should make that aware here. I'll put it on a banner. Let me find the banners, guys. I'm still here for you. I remind you that I'm broadcasting to you from Twilight Zone Old Peking, Frater Francis Lucas Aristeas of the Ordo Templi Astarte and Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, Eastern Star Division in the Grand Orient. Broadcasting from Twilight Zone Old Peking. It is 6:59 p.m. here in Beijing, China, the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon. Welcome, Wizard, Warrior, Wanderer, Wayfarer alike. Wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. As your friend and well-wisher, I always welcome you. Early to bed, early to rise makes one healthy, wealthy, and wise. Make sure you square yourself away and be on the level, because we meet on the square. We meet on the square and part on the level. And if you keep that in mind, then you will never go wrong. All right, keep yourself aplomb, level, and squared away. I'm going to go ahead and take a 2 to 3 minute break and grab myself another cup of tea. Yeah, Freude. Just call you Freude. Yeah, Freud. Let's see here. Yes, I want to refresh my tea. It's gotten cold, and so I want to do that. And I will be right back. Enjoy that daydreaming music. Sehr gut, Weisenfrau. Mein Deutsche ist nicht sehr gut. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nein, ein bisschen. Sprechen sehr gut Deutsch. Nicht sehr gut. I have to wait for the electric kettle to boil. So a Gesundheit to everyone out there in Happy Land, a guten Tagen, Amen, or guten Nacken, wherever you may be, whenever you may be, and whoever you may be. it's your first time, don't ever be your last time, as they say. Broadcasting to you from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Frau von Montage. Old Freighter Montage coming at you once again. Monday on a Friday, right? I guess it's probably Friday morning for most of you guys. Are you in Frau? You said it is a Frau, okay. So Weisenfrau, ist das in Deutschland? Oder Amerikanowitsch? Sind Sie Amerikanerin? Yeah, my German's pretty rusty, man. I haven't spoken it since I was a child. They had us learn something. Because I went to a Lutheran. Okay, America. Are you west of the Rockies or east of the Rockies? Yeah, I was in a Lutheran academy when I was a boy. And it was always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, I can still count to 10. That's about it. That's about it. Doubelstein, Blut auf Schwarzensfeistekopf. East of the Rockies. Coming at you. Frau Freude. Yeah, it would take me some time to get back into it a little bit and try to remember something. Der Gutenstraße. Wo ist der Gutenstraße? Gutenstraße. Wo ist der Beethovenstraße? Der Openplatz. Der Openplatz. Yeah, I can't even fucking remember even the conjugations and the way verbs work and stuff. It's all. My Chinese is far superior. If you speak Chinese, we can get along just fine. But my German is really, really bad. I should go spend a couple of years in German to be able to get up to a basic conversational level. But I just haven't had the time or the money to do so. Now that I've said that, the cosmos is going to pull me there. And I'm going to find myself in Berlin or Copenhagen or Dresden, cruising around trying to get a beer, right? Ein bisschen sehr Bier trinken, danke, right? Do you remember minor French? Oh, my French is even worse, right? Un, deux, trois, bonjour. Parlez français? Comment allez-vous? Yeah, very, very little French. Merci beaucoup. I don't even know how. I couldn't even find the bathroom in French. I'd be lost without a hope. Okay, my electric kettle is boiling, guys. I'll be right back. I'm gonna pour myself a fresh cup of tea. All right, everyone. All right. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath and hold. And command yourself to relax. Good magic. Opening your eyes now, feeling invigorated, energized, alert, and aware. Intellect functioning clearly. Welcome back to the transmission. If it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. One and all, wizard, warrior, wanderer, wayfarer, and wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. I am your host for the hour, Frater Francis Lunas Aristeas of the OTA, broadcasting to you from the central kingdom of the celestial dragon Twilight Zone, Old Peking, coming at you like a Sharaka out of the desert, like a emerald pyramidian, transmitting an ancient and eldritch vibration from atop a megalithic pyramid. Oh, I wanted to share that guy with you guys. I apologize. I'm making myself a cup of Twinings English breakfast tea, rich and balanced, medium bodied. I got my electric kettle here, and in goes the hot water. Look at that right there. Bubbling hot water on top of the tea. Got myself a JP Farrell. Yeah, chai. Chai, huh? Chai is just tea, right? That's the same thing? Here's the thing I feel about Barden. He's like the whitest magician, sorcerer. Sorcery isn't evil. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna tell you. I've been doing some research on Pascal Beverly Randolph, and it turns out there are some, according to Peter North, that it's actually Barden borrowed from Randolph. And that kind of makes me think of Randolph Carter, right? Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm pretty sure I got it open here. So yeah, everyone's big on their Barden. It's funny too. It's interesting that you should say that, but I wanted to mention to you really quick that the Chinese actually do a lot of these in the early training of what we call internal iron palm. So I started practicing Chinese internal kung fu before I even really got into magic. I did get into magic later on at about the same time. They arose together, both Western mystery tradition and my study of internal Chinese kung fu. But they have a lot of the same practices of internal visualization in order to direct the chi, the electromagnetic energy in the body, in order to refine it, right, from Jing, from seminal energy into Qi, life, breath, and then into various qualities of Qi, whether it be Wei Qi or Yun Qi or other forms of Qi, right, like when you Fa Jing, when you issue that energy in combat or in magic. And when I discovered Barden, I thought, wow, this is just like Chinese Taoism brought through a Western speaker. And I know a lot of folks are very interested in Buddhism, and I don't know anything about it. Like when I chose to come to China to study, one of the things I wanted to do was search for entirely Chinese sources without any Buddhist influence. And that's why I came to Beijing, because they've been able to, at the White Cloud Temple here in Beijing, they've maintained a tradition of exclusively Taoist source material and with no Buddhist influence whatsoever. And the reason for that is because they felt that the original Chinese transmission prior to the advent of Buddhism in China has its own unique flavor, and that it's actually much easier to understand and far more simplistic That's why. Because the Buddhist system has an entire pantheon of very fierce gods and stuff like that, and like really weird stuff that they think makes you mentally insane. Whereas in Chinese Tao, they don't they don't pretend to show you anything. Yeah, they want you to learn the method of preforms so that you can perceive the forms directly without a bunch of illustration or fantasy in your mind. They want you to penetrate through the veil on your own so that you can see what's out there, not so that somebody else tells you what's out there. And as a result, it's just a far different journey. It's a far different experience. Yeah, but it was about 10 years ago I started researching Poke Runyon's system of Solomonic magic, and I flew back to the US and I received initiation from the Church of Hermetic Sciences with Poke Runyon at his wizard tower out in Southern California, and it was wonderful, man. Very, very, very wonderful. But yeah, I was going to show you um, Frater Freude. That Yeah, I did. It was wonderful. It was in 2019, man. Really beautiful experience. Here's the thing, like I had showed up 6 months earlier and like received the initiation from Poke on the astral sphere. And when I got there, he was just like smiling and winking at me. And I'm like, Poke, I got to tell you about this. And I was like, through a series of lucid dreams, I've already been through the initiation. And he's like, you don't need to tell me. He's like, I was there. I'm the one that initiated you. And I was like, oh my gosh, so wonderful. He looked exactly like he did on the astral. And like the exact robe he wore that night at Adonia, the initiation ceremony, it was the same robe he was wearing in the astral realm. Just wonderful. So it says here there's a collection. Can you see my screen? I'm trying to share my screen. Frater Freude, Frau Freude. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was so beautiful. So yeah, magic is real, man. The spirit realm is real. There's no joke about it. It's a legit thing. Um, yeah, you can do it too, man. Just grab his book, start studying his material, and you'll be able to commune with him. I've been to the Invisible College. I've been up the mountain, as it were, to the timeless homeland. Got the golden ticket. I've brought back golden coins. I've got the silver key to the gate of dreaming. Here's the silver key. And I'm doing a series of live broadcasts to share my understanding, which is a little unique because here we go. Let me get back into it. A collection of sacred magic, the esoteric library, www.sacredmagic.com. I'll go all the way back to the start of this PDF so that you can see, and then I'll get back into the conversation with you. I'd like to remind everybody that this is titled Open Panel. So if you are interested in joining, you can see it right there, right? You can see the name, and I think I've posted it in the chat a couple of times. So if anybody's interested in coming on and shooting the shit with me, that would be wonderful. Because I seem to get tired much faster if I'm the only one talking. Whereas if someone joins me, then it always seems to go a little better. The back and forth of philosophical and spiritual conversation is far superior to just one man ranting into an empty void. There we go. So this particular copy from cdn.preterhuman.net texts religion.occult.new_age/magic/magica sexualis.pdf. It says right here, was this grimoire a major influence for Franz Barden's initiation into Hermetics? And as far as I know, I'm the only one that has brought this information forward recently or made the connection on their own. So I made this connection on my own through way of meditation. I was reading and studying, again, about 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, Franz Barton's Initiation into Hermetics, and I remembered how closely it was to the meditation practices we did at the Kung Fu school, the Xingyi Martial Arts Institute, which at which my older brothers there were Stephen Cotter and William Revac, and the things they were teaching me. And I was contemplating this short paragraph from the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, and I want to show you guys that I'm doing this all. Also, I'll open my camera for just a second because I want to show you guys that I'm doing this all from memory. In the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, I was reading that text, and in it I discovered this one brief thing that I memorized and committed to heart, and it's remember, O neophyte, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, silence is, remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. And I thought, that's probably where Crowley got his idea of love is the law, because love is the foundation. Goodness alone is power, right? And these are things that I would incant in my mind over and over and over again, like the great work is before all things, creation of man by himself. That is to say, the complete and perfect, the control of his faculty to his future, and the perfect emancipation of his will, right? Eliphas Levi. And so I had been in meditation contemplating that, saying it over and over again like a mantra. Goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. And the light came into my mind, and on the ledge of revelation, I don't know if you know about this or not, but there's a ledge of revelation in the fathomless cavern, and that's where the angels come out and blow their trumpets and tell you things. And they guided me to find the origin of sex magic that Crowley had stumbled upon and perverted. And I felt like I needed to bring forward that it's about seminal retention. It's not about firing the cannon. And from White Cloud Temple, we have Master Liu Dongbing's transmission that you need to focus in meditation every morning between 3 to 5 a.m. Deep breathing to the cauldron, focusing on the light for 100 days before it will grow. And that's the 100-day challenge right there. Seminal retention for 100 days, disciplining yourself to get up between the hours of 3 and 5 a.m., contemplating dreamland, and focusing for 15 to 20 minutes on gentle rhythmic breathing with a mantra of your choosing, whatever it may be. Like for me, I use the invocation of total integration. So our Taoist invocation of total integration has been translated into English by the Grand Master Omni of Tao. His publications are called 7-Star Communications. I have the book right over here. I could read from it if you like, but rather than do that, I'll just recite from memory. So rather than sitting in the lotus posture, we actually sit with the legs under us, like the Japanese style, right? So you sit that way. And then you sit with the hands in the Om posture at the lower dantian, and you breathe. And the invocation is, I won't repeat it, but it's heaven and earth. Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous, universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, gross and subtle energies become distinctly divided. Our bodily caves are brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the 3 sources, our 3 dantian, bridge points leading to immortality. The powerful spirits of the 8 directions conjoin one's being with the true origin of life. Okay, on and on and on and on. And there are actually 7 of them. And you memorize them over 7 times 7, 49 days. And by the end of that cycle, you're halfway through the 100-day challenge. And then for the next 50 days, up to 99 days, right? 3 cycles of 33. So the first section, the first third, is focusing on the the infernal Dantian. The second 33 degrees, 33 days, is focusing on the middle Dantian, and the last 33 is the upper Dantian. So lower Dantian is the Om, center Dantian is the inward pulling of energy, and the third Dantian, of course, is the triangle, the eye in the triangle. And if you do that, then you're done. You can make lightning appear. You can disperse tornadoes or ride at the top of them. You can make earthquakes and floods appear or disappear. You could change the entire fortune of a nation or the fortune of your family. You can't keep up. Okay. What's the mantra called? It's called the invocation of total integration. Okay, I'm missing something in the chat. Let me shut off the camera, guys, so you don't have to look at my ugly mug. So it looks like someone else has joined us in the ideas room. I would have to join on my tablet. Oh, okay, so I put out the option to join the panel chat, and Frau Schaden Fruede is unable to at this time. That's okay. Says that I can't join for an hour anyways. Okay. And I'll have a look at the Psychopathia Sexualis. Sorry, had to share. Okay, good. Thank you. I have a book, he says, called Psychopathia Sexualis. Yeah, here's the other thing, Frau Schadenfreude. There was a guy called Gao Shan, Gaoan of the Foshan Mountains. He was a wandering Taoist here right after the Tang. So it's a Ming Tong Qin. So he was a member of the Qin dynasty, I believe. And he studied one book for 50 years. Kongzi said you should study the I Ching for 50 years. Lu Dongbing said you need only study one tablet for 10 years. So in the tradition of Tao, we're very kind of single purposed. Like, I know introducing a lot of great books is fun for the modern perusal of information. But the thing is that the method is more important than amassing a vast database of knowledge. So I like to study a few select books, and I've already reached out and achieved. I'm not saying that I can't get some new books into my regimen, but I've been studying a small collection of powerful books for a long time, and I kind of reread those every year, like Magica Sexualis. I brought that teaching forward quite a bit with Volantia, Decretism, and Possism. But I will take note of that one because it does have a very interesting title, and a clever magician will give his grimoire certainly an interesting title. But I do see that Neocross76 is here. Neocross, welcome. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well. We're at the middle of the hour, guys. So I will remind you that if it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. This is Frater Francis Lunas, Aristeas of the OTA. You're a Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon Eastern Star Division. I remind you that the time is now to take part in the 100-day challenge, Pathways of Magic. Get on board. You can get the full course syllabus over at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. And while you're there, you might put a little something in the tip jar to keep the lead in my pencil, the pep in my step, and my nose to the grindstone. Welcome, Neocross. Good to see you. So is it your first time? And if so, don't let it be your last time. Oh my God, Neocross. We're going so fast, I can't keep up. Very, very interesting. One Saki, huh? Then I certainly know who you are, Frater. Wow, what a flashback. Good man. You're still out there. You're still kicking, huh? That's a callback right there. Are you out of here, Frau? I might start listening to Taoism at night to maybe understand more of the terms you were using. Yeah, Have to go off to work. Have a great day. Yeah, good. Godspeed to you, Frau Schaden Fruede. Very interesting. Neocross, are you still out there in Happy Land, man? How's the prettiest place on earth, man? The old land where streams of whiskey flow. I love you too, man. Wow, that's really, really wonderful to see that. And remember, that's a flashback to the ancient past, man. Paying a little visit to one Saki. I'm still here in Twilight Zone Old Peking, broadcasting from the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon. And today we are studying both Rudolf Steiner's work on the sun and a grimoire called Magia Sexualis by Pascal Beverly Randolph. You know, an interesting thing, Frater Christophorus, if I may call you by your Christian name, Frater Christophorus. That's so good to hear from you, man. To see you out there. I'd like to come see you this year, man. This summer, if I can do it. Okay, yeah, I might still be here. Um, if I can do it, Neocross 76. If I can do it, I'd like to come see you this summer. Which it's October now, so we got to go through the entire winter, and then I'm thinking I'd love to be back in the land of streams of whiskey for summer 2025, either June, July, or August. Any one of those times. When I'm off school here, because you do know that I work at an academy. I'm a high school teacher, but yeah, I'd love to be there, man, and come say hello and spend some time with you, chilling on the porch and watching the sun go down. And we could throw on a little Blake Sheldon and be like, redneck, riding them red dirt roads, kicking up dust. That would be beautiful, man. So you kind of pulled me out of the present and into the realm of the timeless homeland. Good. Thank you for that, brother. Thank you for that, man. God bless you and your family. I hope you're all doing well too. Uh, so this guy, I wanted to tell you, if you can see the video, I don't know if you can see the video or not, brother Christophorus. Um, this Pascal Beverly Randolph guy was friends with Abraham Lincoln. He was friends with guys like Abraham Lincoln, and he started his own brotherhood called the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. He was an influence on Templar and Masonic involvements. Randolph's works and writings influenced Franz Barden, right? Let's see here, I'll mention where it is. He was associated with Lutherans, with the German historian Karl H. Frick, R.H. Frick, and suggests that President Lincoln, General A.H. Hitchcock, and other notable Americans were members of the Brotherhood of Julius or the Brotherhood of Luxor, the Brotherhood of Light, right? Eliphas Levi, Kenneth McKenzie, Hargrave Jennings were considered students of his teachings. It's even held that Madame Blavatsky was a member of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, but later she became an antagonist of Beverly Randolph. Isn't that awesome, man? It's believed that a document giving in practical form much of his sexual magic was in circulation among the German magical circles as early as 1868, right? Right after the Civil War. The practices were likely passed from Karl Kellner in 1895 and received a charter to form the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis. So you can see here that the Brotherhood of Luxor predates the Golden Dawn and predates the OTO. Super awesome, man. I'm so glad that I started to discover this. There's another group that the Brotherhood of the Golden Triangle that I didn't know anything about, man, and just became recently aware of. And so these magical circles were operating there in the 1776 homeland prior to the Civil War. Um, and they knew the magic and they practiced it. And it's like, how did it become so obfuscated and lost? And I guess it's in part because the Freemasonic order seized hold of the reins, and just your average everyday individual was not going to be able to receive any of that teaching. And so it requires initiation. Like I said, I've been in China for the last 20 plus years, and all of this I discovered through self initiation. And most of my practice has been based on my Kung Fu. And Frater Neocross here, 1776, you can tell people firsthand. I mean, you were there. You saw me doing my Kung Fu in the red dirt, riding a golden steed. And you can back up my story, man, that I've been hard at it for over 30 years, investigating this path of Tao. You and Brother Bratcher were the first two that actually showed me genuine brotherhood and love after my father died. I think you may have even seen my father before he died, man. You were there. You were old school. You were OG and OG. You know Wansaki, right? Now you know. Who is Wansaki? He who raises the pant leg on one side, right? You saw me as Hiram Abiff. You saw me wallow in the abyss, in the dark night of the soul. Man, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know I was going through initiation with you guys. I didn't know you guys were initiating me into the mysteries. Had I known, I would have thought of things a little differently, man. But my great sincerity, I think, showed through. I think that you were able, Frater Christophorus, that you were able to recognize a true being, a true gentleman. Yeah, I never betrayed you guys. I just came here to follow my dream, right? Chasing the dragon, as it were. Let's get back into it, man. If I can if I can share my screen with you guys and pull it up here. Yeah, so Robert North says, he goes in to tell the story of how he discovered this copy of Randolph's Magica Sexualis. And he said that he did so. He was living in Providence, Rhode Island, the demon-haunted metropolis favored by Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft. Years before, he had heard rumors of the magical teachings of P.B. Randolph, but the only evidence that he had been able to discover was a 1939 reprint of Ravolet. You can read this on your own because it's not as important as getting directly into the work itself. And the introduction to the life and work of Randolph is pretty important, right? He numbered among his friends such persons as Abraham Lincoln, Napoleon III, and Eliphas Levi, right? Eliphas Levi tells us the great work is, first and foremost, completion of man by himself and the complete and total control of his faculties and his future. Lord Bulwer Lytton, Charles Mackay, and other notables. The important thing here is the upshot, right down here, guys. He taught himself to read and write. He was autodidactic. But here, let me show you. This sentence right here is what we're doing. Randolph became convinced that the supernatural must be studied scientifically, and this remained a central theme of his work. We must study the supernatural scientifically. And how can you do that unless you can directly contact the supernatural? Look at this, from the Hebrew Shiloh. was a spring outside Jerusalem mentioned in the Bible. I know where that spring is, guys, and it's near Shiloh, but it's not in Shiloh. It's a little somewhere else. I happen to be in possession of that eternal spring of sweet water. One day I'm going to make whiskey with it, and then all of you will know. All right, Axis Rap Blood, thank you for tuning in. Good to see you, man. Have fun in Dreamland, and I'll see you in the abodes of the future. So good to see Neo Cross though, 76. Wow, what a wonderful treat, man. So grateful you are here. I'm running out of energy too, guys, though. It's 7:38 here, Beijing time. And I think I could go about another 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna sign off for the evening as well. During his journeys to Paris, he became aware of several works. Let's get down into the meat of it, guys. Very nearly all that I have given as Rosicrucian originated in my soul, right? Rosicrucianism. It all originated in his soul. The Ansoretic mysteries. Why does Blavatsky get so much attention when it should be Pascal Beverly Randolph that gets more attention? If we consider that Randolph's Rosicrucian and Ansoretic teachings formed the basis of modern magical tradition and were written some 25 years before the founding of the Golden Dawn, his deathbed confession may be seen as the key to the origin of modern magic. There it is. There it is there. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. I found the source. This right here. I was in Boston. Where did it all start? Where did the grandest, most miraculous, manifest destiny of the American people begin? At the Green Dragon Tavern in Boston, Massachusetts in 1775. I'm tracing the origins, guys. Where did the big idea come from? The Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. That's where it came from. Beyond the Veil, published in 1878. The Quakers. Here we go. This is an important part. Notice it's highlighted. The writings of Franz Barden have become quite popular. Barden was a close friend of William Quincher, with whom, in fact, he was imprisoned by the Nazis. Quincher had become a member of an offshoot of the OTO, known as the Fraternitas Saturni, led by Eugene Grosch. Quincher had reached the 8th degree grade of Gradus Mercurii, but quarreled with Grosch and resigned. It is interesting to note that the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th degrees use the word scholar in their title, such as Scholar Warrior, right? Path of the Scholar Warrior. Readers of Barden's work will be familiar with the frequent use of that term by him. Any perusal of PBR's Sexual Magic and Barden's initiation into Hermetics will reveal a great many similarities. The student will immediately recognize that the origin of the Golden Dawn's flashing color exercises as Volantia in the Volantia chapter of Sexual Magic. That's what we were talking about a moment ago, guys. That's what we were talking about. We grow daily beyond our yesterdays and are ever reaching forth for the morrow. The world has had a long night, and it has had bright days, and now another morn is breaking, and we stand in the doorway of the dawn, the Golden Dawn. All right, guys, I can't get too much into it tonight because it's almost 8 o'clock, and my kids are about to come home from school, and we've got other things to do here in Twilight Zone Old Peking. So I must start my sign off into the abodes of the night and wish you well. I thank you for joining me today on this transmission. I had originally only intended to maybe go about an hour, so we're almost to the bottom of the second hour, but I will thank you all for joining me, and I'm gonna give a little shout out to everybody that stopped by to say hello tonight. And so for everyone out there in Happy Land, whether it be first people in the chat this evening was Frau Schaden Fruede. Thank you for no Axis Blood, Axis Rat Blood. So Frater Rat Blood, thank you for stopping by. Good to see you. Thanks for all the love and light to everyone, and thank you. Much gratitude for seeing you out there in Happy Land. Frater Schadenfreude, thanks for the mention of the book title that we should be looking into, all of us, each and every one of us. He felt it important enough to bring it forward. It was Philosophia Sexualis, I believe. Let me try to find it. It was throughout the chat. If you guys missed it, I'll do it here. I'll put it in the description box down below when I do find it. Yeah, in our esoteric system of Tao, we do try to avoid too much cross-pollination from Buddhism. But it is okay. I do understand some of the Buddhist jargon, so feel free to use it a little bit. But I'm not as interested in it poisoning the well, as it were, as my Taoist studies. So with that said, I am receiving some transmissions from someone else. Give me just a minute, guys, and then I will sign off. So let me do a real quick break, 2 to 3 minute break. Okay, awesome. Yeah, come by again whenever you see me live or check out any of the videos. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. Psychopathia. Oh, it's really just a novelty. Okay. And I see that. Thank you for that, Frau Schadenfreude. Have a good day and good magic. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close up the transmission for this evening. As a recall, I started with the idea of having visited. And shout out to Neocross 76, man. So awesome to see you. You remember old beloved one Saki, huh? Frater Christophorus. Good to see you again, man. I hope to see you this summer, and send me a message anytime, man. I'd love to chat with you directly. That would be fucking awesome. We began our journey this evening over at Ironworks. His address I'll put down in the description below. It was an after party from wherever he was. I was on his panel chat for a while. You guys can check that out if you're interested. And I wanted to talk about what is the sun, in fact. Is it a distant, ginormous globe of fiery energy, or is it something else entirely?